Where my girls at? Where my girls at? Independent, free spirit. Ooh, it's some serious. Where my girls at? We link up in a cool minute. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right.
Where my girls at? Where my girls at on this Friday? Happy Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. You are listening to We Got Issues with the Force of Friendship on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation WFDF. We are based right out of Detroit, the oldest Black talk radio. But guess what? It's the Superstation. So you can hear us all over the world. And it is Friday. Oh my goodness. Come on, Jayla, give us a hand. We made it. We made it to Friday. We made it to Friday. So you know what? If everything has gone wrong for you this week, put a smile on your face because it's the weekend and you're hanging out with the girls. Yes, the Force of Friendship. And we are always excited to come to you Monday through Friday from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm telling you, we bring you light, we bring you laughter, and we bring some lessons. And you know what? We've almost been doing this for a year. Jalen, give us another hand. Give us another hand. Almost a year. You know what? This group, we believe in asking for people to celebrate us. We don't have to wait around for somebody to put their hands together. I'll ask for my own celebration. But we're excited that we've been hanging out with you for a year. And I'm going to tell you, we have learned a lot from you. So thank you so much for being a part of our tribe. Thank you to all of our listeners and those of you that are following us on social media. We appreciate that. And of course, you know that you can listen to us live on either the radio, or you can see us live on the 9:10 a.m. Facebook page or on the Force of Friendship Facebook page. So whether you're listening in your car or whether you're on the app, you can download the app on the Google Play Store or your App Store, or maybe you're at home on your phone and you're watching us live. Well, however you choose to watch us, we appreciate you being a part. And when I tell you today is going to be another very enlightening and informative show. And let me just say, you guys absolutely call your neighbor, call your friend, call your girlfriend, call your sister, call your husband, call everybody, because this is a show that literally could save your life. Literally, it could save your life. We know February is Black History Month, and we celebrated some phenomenal people that have made African Americans' lives so much better. But this month is also February, the month of love, which of course many of us celebrated Valentine's Day. But did you know that February is also the American Heart Awareness Month? Yes. So today we're talking about love your heart. We love our pets, we love our husbands, we love our children, but this day we have to love our heart. So we're talking about the heart, and we're excited about our guest that is here on today. She is absolutely phenomenal. Dr. Celeste Williams, who is a doctor right there at Henry Ford Health System that's located right here in the city of Detroit. I'm going to read her bio a little bit later, but again, we want you to lean into this conversation. You want to be a part of it, and we absolutely want you to call, and this time you can ask the doctors. I know we got Dr. Banks on here, but don't ask her about the heart, don't ask her that, because she probably don't know what Dr. Celeste knows, okay? We try to answer a lot of questions, but we knew we need a professional on today, and she is here. So give us a call, and you can call and ask her any question about the heart. And that number is 313-778-7600. Well, We have 100% attendance on today. All the girlfriends are in the house on today, and they are looking absolutely amazing. Those of you that are watching us on Facebook, you're probably saying, wow, they're coordinated today. Yes, we are. We all have on red because we are talking about the heart. And so, yes, we have on our red on today. So I'm going to throw it because there's a lot going on in the news. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time with everything that's going on because we want to get to our guests really, really quickly. But I'm going to throw it to my girlfriend from Geneva on the Lake, Ohio, looking fly in her red and her hat. Go, Sabrina. What's going on, Bree? Wow.
Oh, Ellicott City's doing great. The weather was amazing. It was in the 50s. It was sunshiny. But the big news here was my mother-in-law and her best friend. I mean to tell you guys, she called me. I told Ken this morning, I have never heard her. They cannot hear me for some reason. I have never.
Sabrina, they can't hear.
Okay. I have never.
You're muted.
I have never
Sabrina.
heard her so excited. She was so excited when she just found out that her girlfriend was in the state, and then that this girlfriend was going to come visit her here. My mother-in-law is 92 years old. Her best friend is 94 years old. They met when they were 9 years old. They lived up the street from each other. They grew up together. And, you know, in Yonkers, there's a couple of towns in America where you born there, you stay there, you know. So the pandemic made them go. She went to Florida. My mom came down here. But when I tell you, healthy, the memories are like rock solid. I got like 17 stairs going up to her apartment. She looked at those stairs. She's like, okay, let's go. I mean, it was amazing. She carries her cane underneath her arm like this. Like she don't even use it. She just has it because her daughter makes her wear it, but she don't use it. I mean, I'm telling you, they are goalposters for real, for real. So that's
amazing
here.
Amazing.
Yeah, really
Gloria,
good, really good.
I just want to say we've been praying for Daddy Earl, Anthony's dad, who fell and has had some issues, but his best friend, we call him Uncle Johnny, and they've been friends since grade school, and he's almost 90. And I'm telling you, when his friend called him, Anthony said he don't want to be sick around his friend. He was like, he perked up. It just has done something, totally done something for his health. Friendship is essential for the soul, and it is good for the heart. It's good for the heart. So that was one of the best things ever.
Friends.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Crazy, girl. Crazy.
Wow. Well, you guys, we're going to go ahead and bring our guest in. And you guys, this is such an important topic that we're talking about today. We're talking about the heart. Let me just give you some statistics. 400,000 women a year die from heart disease. 400,000. I was just floored when I read that statistic. And you may or may not know that heart disease is the #1 killer of women. And, you know, sometimes we hear a lot about cancer, and we know that it takes its toll, but it is heart disease that is the #1 killer of women. So just think, every minute a woman is dying from a heart attack or from heart disease. So I'm excited to bring on every minute our guest on today. So if we can bring her in, there she is, Dr. Celeste Williams. When I tell you,
Thank you.
Absolutely adore Dr. Celeste Williams. Let me tell you a little bit about her background. Dr. Celeste Williams is a transplant cardiologist at Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit. She has an appointment at Wayne State University School of Medicine as an associate professor of medicine. Dr. Williams is the medical doctor of cardiac transplantation and also she was named by our magazine, which is one of the top magazines here in Michigan, as one of the top docs in Michigan. In 2021, she was awarded the Rockstar Award by Cranbrook Institute of Science. She has organized numerous faith-based health fairs at Greater Grace Temple, where she is a member, and other churches across the Detroit metropolitan area and Chicago. She actively participates in educating the community through webinars about COVID and vaccine awareness, as well as heart health, sponsored by the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority and the Theta Mu Omegas and the Zeta Omega chapters. It is so exciting, you guys. She's a doctor, but she is definitely one of my best friends. You guys, welcome to We Got Issues, Dr. Celeste Williams.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the invitation. Yeah, thank you.
Oh my goodness. Well, Dr. Celeste, you know what? We got a few minutes before we go to break, and then I absolutely have questions that I want to ask. And again, we want our audience, if you have any questions about the heart, we want you to call us at 313-778-7600, because the good doctor is in the house. And so, Dr. Celeste, just kind of real quickly tell them a little bit of your background. How did you become interested in becoming a doctor and then selecting, to be a cardiologist? Talk to us a little bit about that before we go to break.
Yeah, thanks. So really, it was quite simple. When I was a little kid, I was playing with my siblings. I have two sisters and one brother. And my mom's a nurse, and I wanted to be the nurse of the group. And my dad saw us playing, and he said, "Hey, Celeste, why don't you be a doctor? You're really smart." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And that was it. So ever since then, my dad said I could do it. So I said, "Okay, I'll do it."
Wow.
The reason, that was a simple story. But the reason why I chose transplantation is that, I had an opportunity to go to Harvard when I was in medical school, and I did some rotations there. And I worked with some people and just saw how you could just change someone's life. I mean, it was just amazing, from a person who was dying, that you could, give them a new organ and their life changed forever. So, I mean, actually just thinking about those stories, brings tears to my eyes, but you can just change life. But now I've kind of changed. I want to prevent you from getting a transplant. So that's what we want to talk about tonight, prevention.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's so funny, when I met Dr. Celeste, and I was like, okay, so Celeste, where are you from? Tell them where you're from.
I am from Davenport, Iowa. I'm from one of those towns that you never leave. So.
Right.
And it was so funny. I was like, you're from Iowa? What? Iowa. Oh my goodness. When I tell you, she has such a wealth of knowledge. We're going to go ahead and take our very first break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about what is heart disease. What are some of the signs? What are some of the symptoms? You may have questions that you want to ask Dr. Celeste. So we want you to call us at 313-778-7600. So when we return from break, we want to know, what exactly is heart disease? You're listening to We Got Issues with the Force of Friendship on 9:10 a.m. The Superstation. We'll be right back. Okay, well, we are back. We are back. You're listening to We Got Issues with the Force of Friendship, and I'm so excited. On today, we're talking about Love Your Heart, and we are here with Dr. Celeste Williams. And so prior to the break, when we left the break, the question was, what is heart disease? Michelle, we want you to hold on because we do have a caller. Michelle, after Celeste, after you answer the question, we'll go to the caller. Dr. Celeste.
All right. So heart disease, it's the number one killer of people in America, and it kills, like you said first, more people than cancer combined. But there's different parts of heart failure, and the type we're going to talk today about is coronary artery disease, and that's basically you have these vessels that supply blood to your heart, and when these vessels get blocked up with cholesterol, they block up and they prevent blood from getting to the heart. And then your heart muscle says, oh, I need blood. And you start having chest pain, start hurting. And that heart muscle can die, which is called a heart attack, if you don't restore blood to the heart immediately. So that's the kind of heart disease that really is prevalent in the United States. But what really affects Black people is they have high blood pressure and their arteries are open. Their arteries are fine, but their high blood pressure causes the heart to become weak and they develop a cardiomyopathy. So regardless if you have a heart attack or if you have hypertension and develop a weak heart, the end result is a weak heart. You can get a weak heart on different pathways, but the number one pathway for Black people, heart disease, is actually hypertension developing a weak heart.
Wow. Okay. So those are the two main reasons, or those are the two main things that Black people deal with: hypertension and the heart blockages, correct? Okay. Awesome. I have a couple more questions we want to ask. We're going to go ahead and take our caller and then we'll come back. Michelle, are you there? Hi, Michelle. Thank you for calling. We Got Issues. Thank you so much.
Hi, Sabrina.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Michelle. I wanted to say, and my question, I might be a little long. The ladies know of my past with my son. My son was 19 years old, and he died from sudden cardiac arrest. He just collapsed on the football field. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. My son lives in Florida. The end result was the sudden cardiac arrest, but unbeknownst to us, he had cardiomyopathy. And he played football since he was 5 years old. We took that so-called physical every month, but as I would say, we care about the head, but not the heart. So there was no, you know what I mean? When we did that, they're oh, he's fine. I have been an advocate. I started a foundation here in Atlanta where we give out AEDs to the community. But my thing and my question to you is, how do you feel about, we started a bill here, it's named after my son, and another kid that's 12 who collapsed on the basketball field, on the basketball court. So we started a bill, the Jim Nelson, Nick Blakely sudden cardiac arrest. So if you're in the 9th grade up to the 12th, you have to sign a paper stating that you know about sudden cardiac arrest. My question is, how do you feel about that? Do you think that younger kids, that are playing sports, or it's just not just younger kids in sports, but younger kids and up to high school period? Because, of course, I know you know that this has happened in a lot of states.
Thank you for your question, Michelle. That's a very good question. Dr. Celeste?
Yeah, so I'm so sorry to hear about your loss. I am. That's a very good.
Legislation is very important. What I found, though, like concussion, people want their kids to play. So if it didn't happen to them, if it's not in their family, if they never knew anyone, they have this belief it couldn't happen to them. So I think it's I think you pushing it forward and, you know, increasing the level of awareness is extremely important. But people, for some reason, think things can't happen to them. But congratulations on your efforts, and just continue to do what you're doing. Even if you increase awareness of, you know, 100 people, that could prevent a death. So congratulations on your effort.
Today and sharing your story with us. I'm sure there's so many others out there that may not even know that exists. So we appreciate you taking the time to call We Got Issues. Thank you for calling, Michelle.
Dr. Celeste, just to delve a little bit further into what Michelle was talking about, you know, her son who passed on the football court. What are some things, because we know that we love our children being in sports. And like you said, if there's no history and they do a basic exam, is there anything else that parents can do to kind of help them or, you know, alert them that this is possible, or it's just something that happens?
You know, that's a really difficult disease, because if it's a common disease called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy that sometimes has an associated murmur. But if the pediatrician doesn't pick up the murmur, it's very difficult, because you really shouldn't have a murmur. Or if you have one, you should look into what it is, because there's some benign murmurs. But those physicals, when we go to those gyms and do, you know, the 300 physicals in the afternoon, you know, there are 300 physicals in the afternoon. So your primary or pediatrician has to be attuned to those murmurs, and then just paying attention to your family medical history. But that's why it's called sudden cardiac death. It is so terrible. I will tell you, I personally have experienced it in my family. It is awful. You just don't get the warnings.
Wow. Dr. Celeste, and then I'm going to turn it over to the girlfriends. They have questions. Can you tell us what increases our risk of developing heart disease?
Yes, that's a great question. So, you know, there's certain risks that you can help, you can control. There's certain risks you cannot. So things you cannot control is your age. As you get older, your risk will increase, you know, to develop coronary artery disease or heart disease. And actually after menopause. So estrogen is what we call cardioprotective. So we see women basically after menopause having heart attacks because estrogen really protects them very well from heart attacks. Another thing you can't control is your sex. So once again, men have it more prominently earlier on, but then women take over, you know, as they age. You can't control your family medical history. But we need to understand there's a difference between family medical history and family habits. If your Uncle Johnny smoked, had diabetes, and ate a bunch of bad food, okay, that you were maybe eating the same way as he was. So I think it's very important to differentiate habits versus history. So those are kind of the things you really, and race you cannot change. But as we hear in news today, what does this mean being Black? Okay, we know we live in certain neighborhoods that don't have the right grocery stores, do not have access to healthcare. You know, you can't, the school system, education is not the same. And we know that our care is not the same when we go to the hospitals, all right? So is really Black a risk factor, our skin, or is how socially we are treated that makes us higher risk for these diseases? So I don't know if I guess race in America is a risk factor, but if we took us somewhere else, and I don't know if that would be a risk factor. But some things we can control. We can control smoking. Smoking is an absolute no-no. We have more conversation about smoking causes cancer, but only 10% of the patients who smoke will get cancer. 50% who smoke will get heart disease. So that's one statement that, we don't talk a lot about. High blood pressure is a big one. You know, also diabetes. Diabetes makes any other disease. Mm-hmm.
Let me ask a question. real quickly, because that was an eye opener for me. When you see now the cigarettes, they have a big sign. I mean, we just came from Mexico, and the duty free had all the packs of cigarettes, and it was a big sign that says smoking might kill you or it causes cancer. But why don't they have anything on there that says it causes heart disease? Because you think smoking, oh, somebody gets cancer, you think it came from the smoking, but you're saying that's only 10%, 50%?
Yes, 50%.
Wow.
Because, you know, you got to lobby, and you got to go through legislation. The American College of Cardiology would have to work with those cigarette companies. Those people it's a lot of work. You know, that I don't know why they chose not to do that, but yeah. They're not going to just put that on their cigarettes. And diabetes is huge. Diabetes makes every other disease worse. If you're a diabetic, a poorly controlled diabetic, every other disease will be poor. Yeah. So those are kind of your risk factors for developing. And of course, obesity and a sedentary lifestyle. And actually high cholesterol. There's about 20 risks, huh? Basically everything.
I mean, you keep saying, and then there's and also this, and if you could add that, and maybe a little bit of this, and some of this. And, I mean, we're gonna break this down at the second part of this show because you are awesome, amazing.
Oh my goodness. You know what? Yes, we are getting ready to go to another break. And Gloria, I know you had a question for Dr. Celeste. And after the break, we will continue to talk about what are some of the risk factors. And then we absolutely want to know what are some of the things that we can do to prevent having heart disease. You guys, you're listening to We Got Issues on 910 AM, the Superstation. We're going to pay some bills and we'll be right back. We're back. We're back. We are back. We are talking about Love Your Heart today with Dr. Celeste Williams, who is the Director of Quality Health, Vascular Institute, and the Medical Director of the Cardiac Transplantation at Henry Ford Health System. All right. So prior to the break, we were just, kind of talking about all of the things that cause heart disease. So Dr. Celeste, I want you to go ahead and finish that. And then Gloria, I think you had a question.
Yeah, so we were talking about, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, not exercising, being overweight, and of course, smoking cigarettes. So there's a lot of things that increase your risk of having a heart disease.
I want to tell you, I love you for so many reasons. Okay, so first, you live in Detroit, and I'm from Detroit. Okay, then I want to tell you I love you because you work at Henry Ford, and I was born in Henry Ford Hospital. Okay, so then I love you because you went to Harvard, and I went to Harvard. Then I love you because you're dealing with heart. I mean, there's just so many reasons I love you, and I'm glad you're in our tribe. My question to you is, I was watching Good Morning America, and they were talking about how 50% of the African-American women have issues with their heart. 50%. I was blown away by that number. It's higher than that. Okay, so my question to you is, in the situation where I know just by numbers, minorities in heart specialists have to be low. Women minority heart specialists have to be even lower than that. And you're at such a high level. Given these numbers and the reality of it, just like we have to bring African-American pregnancies to light, and not enough is done because of that, what is being done from your viewpoint at that level? Because for it to get to Good Morning America, that's obviously some PR work that's going out to the world that says this is an issue. So is that what's happening right now? Or is this an issue that we're finally paying attention to because the numbers are so high? What's happening at your level that is making this come to light?
Well, what's making everything come to light is COVID. COVID opened up everyone's eyes that, oh my goodness, Blacks are suffering more from hospitalization, death rate from COVID. But what people didn't realize is that we suffer more in every disease, in having babies, in blood pressure, in any disease. If you compare, Black people have worse outcomes. So I think that put, things more at the forefront. What they're trying to do, there's so many, we have to come at this as so many different angles, because one cardiologist can't do this all. I really think that there's going to have to be a push towards community awareness. The heart disease that Black women are suffering from is Black women have an increased risk of hypertension, right? Hypertension causes that thick heart. That heart, and is called heart failure with preserved EF. So they get that cardiomyopathy. So that's the type of heart disease Black women are going to suffer from. And I mean, they've done studies that the rate we're going, and this is from, obesity and hypertension. It drives this type of cardiomyopathy. And the problem with this type of cardiomyopathy, there's not great treatment for it. So we are going to have to really focus in on these risk factors, not only to prevent having a heart attack, but prevent having these types of cardiomyopathies that there's really no treatments for them. But we'll have to get on ground level and talk about the importance of not being obese and not having hypertension, and to really modify these risk factors, because not only will they prevent you from having a heart attack, but they prevent you from having a weak heart and be stuck in a chair, legs swollen, can't breathe, and it's happening. It is exponential. It is terrible.
I hear you talk about weight and not enough exercise, but where does food, processed food, the type of food we eat, the type of food we were made to fall in love with, the type of food is our comfort food. By the time we wake up, it's all around our stomach. And they say if you have a really big stomach, it's going to first affect your heart. That's what I heard.
That's right. Yeah, you're going to be more increased risk of having diabetes. And it's almost like we have to retrain our brains. Really, when you start eating better, you start feeling better. Everyone knows that. You start drinking water, you start feeling better. And then you start craving better foods. And then when you eat bad, you start feeling bad. So, and if you, okay, water break.
I don't have mine today.
So we have to learn. Hey, first, remember when you had the Generations of Promise come to the church and they did a cooking class for us a couple times and they taught us?
Yes.
Didn't we learn so much at that cooking class? I mean,
yes,
we have to just seek out opportunities to learn to eat better and sacrifice. We're going to have to do it. Yeah.
What about economic levels? I just got this one more question. Is it with the lower income versus the higher income? Is it across the board? Where does that come into play?
Oh, that's a great question. Do you know it's across, these inequities are across the board? So like when you look at mortality for women having babies, it doesn't matter if you have an education, you have good insurance, you're married, you live in the suburbs, your risk of dying are still much higher than a white woman. Say yes, if you compare, the type of women to women, income, education, our risk of dying and things are still higher. So it's more, and it's every disease, I'm telling you. So we really have to become aware and be more proactive with our health. Waiting for someone, I just think we have to be really proactive and work with the doctors. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. And so Dr. Celeste, thank
loving
you for
you
being
is like
here.
hard sometimes. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, Dr. Celeste, I was in a really good mood before I got on this show. Now I'm depressed, okay? I mean, really. It's like if you wake up and black, you're about to die, okay? You're just about to die.
No, you know what?
We're joking. We got issues. We got issues. Go ahead, Sabrina.
But don't you think that it's empowering? This is the first time someone's actually looking at this and it's being talked about on national TV and people are actually aware that, hey, I better start looking into my health. I love it.
Right.
50%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm so glad that we're talking about it. We got to talk about it more. We want to have you on, like you're going to be our in-house resident as much as we can have you on to remind us, that we have to talk about it. We have to encourage each other to exercise, drink our water, watch your diet. It is, you said, a sacrifice to have a happy, healthy heart, to live longer. You have to be intentional about it. No ifs, ands, buts about it. And so I wonder, Dr. Celeste, because you see a lot of sick people. Right? Mm-hmm. How do you keep your joy? Because when you go home, I mean, those people are on your mind. How do you keep your joy?
What a great question. And how timely is your question? I actually have to pray that God will put a shield around me, that I don't absorb people. I care about them. I love my patients, but I got to be able to help them. And I can't feel sorry for people if I need to help them. So I'm here to do a certain job. So I actually pray. And I look at my schedule and I know when people are coming that want to some patients don't want to get better. Some people don't want to get better. They love being sick. So I know when they're coming and I really, I try to still support them. But honestly, prayer for me, just spending, I recharge being alone. And that's probably bad because people probably think I'm antisocial. But sometimes I can get, because I give so much at work that I need to recharge. But I love reading. And for me, praying is helps me so much. It helps me recharge. And then go on vacations too. You know what I mean?
Good.
And I drink grape juice. I know you're drinking that wine, but
I got you, Dr. Celeste.
Vacations are important, aren't they? Vacations are important. Yes.
Yeah, one more question. Because we know that sometimes you go get a checkup, they're just getting you in and out. What questions do we need to ask when we go into that doctor's office?
Right.
About our heart.
Right. So when you go to a certain specialist, always talk about the issue of the specialist. If you're at the heart doctor, do not talk about your feet, having whatever, just really say specific. So that's important. If you're trying to talk about your heart, you want to ask your doctor, what is my blood pressure? Is that at target? Do I have diabetes? Am I close to having diabetes? What is my cholesterol? You know, things like you have to ask about those risk factors and how you know, how your risk factors are doing. The thing what we like to do is we get to the doctor and we love to say things like, oh, my blood pressure is just high because I'm scared of the doctor. No, your blood pressure is high because it's high. It's been high. And you're not scared of your doctor. You've been seeing that doctor for like 10 years, you know?
Right.
So, and accept the treatment. If it, you know, get the medicine, make your, you know, bring your blood pressure down, get the medicine. You know, you can try it for 3-6 months, but if you're not successful, just get the medication. But
Awesome.
very intentional questions.
Right. I'm over here, Dr. Celeste. I am over here. We have a meal plan. Someone who prepares meals, and there was a sister who prepares vegetarian meals, and I have been saying, "Oh, let me try." I'm over here looking for her number. I'm like, okay, let me find her number. Let me find her number. Can you just talk about when you have worked with someone who was not following the protocol that you gave them, and then they followed it? Like, how do you get, because this is obviously we want to be healthy, but there's always these blocks that stop people from being able to go from here to here. Some people just don't want to, but when you have people that really want to, can you walk us through a little bit of what's the process? Like, what are the first 3 things you tell them to do? And, you know, how do you get them from here to making a difference, aside from, if you don't do this, you're going to die?
Yeah. Well, I don't say that. I'm not that. But so that's a really great question. What I like to do with patients is give them,
Dr.
first
Celeste,
of all, they have to.
We're going to go to a break. And when we come back, I'm telling you, I'm leaning way into you answering that question, because that is something we all want to know. So we're going to take this break, and then we're going to have you come back and answer that question. You're listening to We Got Issues. We have Dr. Celeste Williams. She knows everything about the heart. We want you to call in if you have a question or a comment. 313-778-7600. We'll be right back after the break. All right, we are coming back. We are coming back. We're talking about Love Your Heart with Dr. Celeste Williams from the Henry Ford Health System. And prior to the break, Caterina had a very good question about how do you get somebody from point A to point B where their health, is not good, but you're able to get them to a place where they will do what is necessary to have great health.
Yeah, that is really important to make sure people get to where they need to go. But what I do is I first make sure they have accepted that they have a condition. This denial thing, I get it, that you don't want to accept and claim. But listen, you have the condition and we have knowledge to help you out. So take the information and help make yourself better. So the first thing is, they have to accept they have a condition. So if they can't accept they have a condition, typically I'm done. I can't help people that don't,
Right.
If they don't think they have the disease, I can't do anything. If they do accept it, we make very small, milestones. Like, okay, let's say you eat chips 7 days of the week. I'm like, okay, Mr. Jones, I need you to go down to 2 days a week. And I need you to do that for me and write it down for me. And then I just do things like that. I need, stop eating out so much. Stop eating at McDonald's. You need to start cooking. So I do milestones. I don't actually tell them to stop everything at once because most people cannot do that. And then I just, as they improve and they start seeing the improvement, they start exercising. I send them to cardiac rehab. We start seeing improvement. And then people start getting motivated when they say, oh, I am losing a little weight. Oh, I do feel much better. Oh, I got that water off my legs. So, and I, just continue to encourage them. And, once people start staying out of the hospital, they start paying attention. So I just try to motivate them, encourage them. But I will be honest, when people don't follow good directions, I'm not probably the best doctor for them. I kind of say, you know what, I should. But but they know me. My patients know me very well.
Right. And you know what? I know that, it can be challenging, but I love how you say you don't try to just cut them off at the knees and say, you got to quit everything, because we know that's not going to work. But to kind of, sometimes we have to be weaned off things. But the thing is, when you start feeling better and you start looking better, then you want to do better. And then it's you wanting to do that because you're feeling much better. We have a caller. Marathon, are you there? Okay, so maybe Marathon didn't hang on. That's okay. All right. Or Marathon, you can feel free to give us a call back. Gloria, did you have another question? Yes.
I think Caterina had a follow-up.
I had a follow-up. Okay. I had a follow-up question. Dr. Celeste, when you say admit that you have heart disease, what does have heart disease mean? What are the factors that make you have heart disease? What does that mean?
I guess I should say you have risk factors. So if you have hypertension, you have hypertension. Or if you have diabetes, you have it. The thing is, the patients I do see are actually extremely ill. They already have failed. They've had their heart attacks. They've had their surgeries, bypasses. They failed all their treatments. And I'm seeing the end stage heart failure patients, the patients who need transplants or mechanical hearts. So really, this is, you probably don't want to be my patient. But if you have to, that's fine. So
love you, but don't want to see you.
Yeah, we want to prevent this type of heart disease,
So Dr. Celeste, can you talk a little bit about, we were having a conversation and you said there is some new research that is out. Is there anything that we can tell young women about what increases their risk for developing heart disease?
Yeah, thanks for reminding me first. What they found out is that women who have had preeclampsia or hypertension during pregnancy, or gestational diabetes, or eclampsia during pregnancy, or low birth weight baby, or preterm baby, all those are risk factors of developing heart disease when you get older. They've done studies, and we're getting a lot of traction in our college. But what they found is that these women are having 5 to 6 times increased risk of heart disease. So they're calling this the 4th trimester. So after a woman has a baby who've had those type of problems, like a low birth weight baby or a preterm baby, they should be followed annually to make sure their risk factors are in check, to make sure their blood pressure is in check, they have not developed real diabetes, their cholesterol's in check, and that's called their 4th trimester. For every year, they're recommending these women get followed by either their primary care doctor or even a cardiologist to, if they do develop risk, get right on it and to treat them aggressively. But those women, that's a really increased risk of heart disease later on in life. And who has low-term babies? Who has, who has hypertension during pregnancy? Who has diabetes during pregnancy?
Right.
All right. Yep. So this is very important. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's some great information. And, these are things that we need to, in our community, we need to talk about it. I'm so grateful that, at Greater Grace Temple, we always have, different things, medical fairs and cooking classes and all of that. But we absolutely need to let, our young women know, these are some of the risk factors that they need to be aware of and to follow up with their doctor. So one of the other things, go ahead, Caterina.
You brought it up the other day about the pig. We want to know about the pig, the research with the heart transplant with the pig's heart.
Yeah. So that's a lot of movement. Yeah. So we're really looking into that in the heart transplant, or really the transplantation space for these genetically modified animals and trying to make them compatible with human. So there's been a lot of research done in the past in the animal lab. But you guys probably heard in January, there was a xenotransplantation, a heart transplantation in Maryland. But so that's coming up. But I just really I think that's really amazing work. I really want people to focus on what can I do to really prevent a xenotransplant from ever happening,
Right.
Yeah.
I just,
Exactly.
but it's exciting work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Celeste, we are coming up to the end of the show. So just real quickly, in the last probably minute that we have, if you wanted to leave a thought with our radio audience and those that are watching us on Facebook, what is the thing you want to leave them with?
I would say be really proactive about your health and love your heart. Understand that everything that you do, really can affect the heart. Stress can affect the heart. Depression affects the heart. All these bad hormones can affect the heart. That if you're always negative, all those things really do affect the heart, as well as, high blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol. Just take the time for yourself and to exercise, to try to eat right. Just value your heart, because once it doesn't work, it's really it's not that pleasant. But I think it's a very forgiving muscle, and I think if you take care of it, it's very forgiving, and prayerfully you'll have a long life, a healthy life, and we can really prevent some of these diseases from occurring.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Celeste, thank you so much for your time on today. This has been a wealth of valuable knowledge, and that's how we do it on We Got Issues. We bring you the best of the best. And so, Dr. Celeste, again, thank you so much for hanging out with us on Happy Friday. You guys have an amazing weekend, and remember to be gentle, to be kind, to love your heart, because you only get one. And you know what? Your life depends on it. You guys have an amazing weekend. Take care. We'll see you on Monday at 6 p.m. Bye-bye.